All right, we are going to show you now how to do these ear mold. Just going to see if we can kind of get enough information, enough visuals here. So basically you have your everyday ordinary ear impression. So basically first thing you do is you remove the sponge or the cotton or whatever it is you use. Don't need that. But you see basically what you have is kind of this divot, okay? You have all this extra mass all around here. All of that has to be cut away. So basically what you want to do is you want to kind of create a nice smooth finish before you go start drilling things. So basically what I use as some tools, I start with a grinding wheel, okay? That's what I use to kind of take the kind of the rough edges off. I go and I get some Dremel drill bits. You can pretty much find these in almost any hardware store. I do use the largest drill, which is nothing special about it. It's just a regular ordinary drill. But if you kind of do the comparison to everyday ordinary tubing, it's more or less the same diameter. So pretty much that's what I use. In terms of creating a tube lock, what I do, I get my trusty razor blade. I take off, maybe it's about, I would say maybe 1/8 of an inch, give or take. I do use my tubing stretcher, kind of slide it up on the end here, give it a good stretch. And what I do is I kind of feed the tube right through till about that depth and take it off. And that basically creates almost a tube lock. It's good enough, it'll hold pretty much where I want it to. Now, in terms of this guy, what we gotta do is we gotta cut it down. So what you do is you get your regular everyday razor blade, and what you wanna do is pretty much cut it right down that line here, okay? And I'm gonna kind of show it to you here. So this is their inner helix part. So basically what you want to do is you want to kind of slice more or less straight down from that point. So kind of pick your angles here. I kind of usually lay it on the side, just about there. And I will do it in such a way where you can kind of see what I'm doing. And I'm more or less going to push right down. Watch your fingers, obviously. And that pretty much is what you get. So all of this is garbage. Now what you want to do is you want to get your rotary tool. I use a bench grinder. That's the Fordham, the little guy, but it's got the chuck on it. I usually take this head off like so. Put the grinding bit on. Again, nice and slow. You don't have to go high speed or anything like that. Like you can see, it's not hurting me just yet. It's pretty slow. And what you want to do is you want to take the edges off, okay? But you also want to take this part off too. So you want to kind of gently grind all that extra stuff off there. And you can see it's just pretty much coming apart. Nice and slow, deliberate motions. You don't have to get complicated with it. Now, in general, when you're kind of doing just a rough canal setup, you almost want to create almost a slightly rounded tip and a relatively smooth surface down on this side here. So let me just kind of give you a little bit cleaner finish here. So nice, smooth, that's the canal. So when you want to get into the helix and everything else, kind of do the same thing, just take the edge off of it. Again, nice and slow. No need to rush. Now, some people take this part off, some people don't. Again, up to you. Depends on your client. However way you want to finish this. So in the smaller areas, you can kind of stretch things out a little bit just to get in there. For this demonstration's purpose, I'm just going to leave the helix intact. So pretty much, if you want to get into a little bit more finer stuff, you can really kind of get in there if you really want to do that. It depends how clean you want this thing to be, but for demonstration purposes, that's pretty much how I would finish this. So, nice smooth finish. Clean all that off. Now, turn off the grinder. Take the chuck out. What you want is now your drill. Pop that in there. Tighten up the chuck. Again, slow. Okay? The slower the better. Now, for this is a fairly shallow ear mold. I did my own ear mold impression this morning, so I didn't really feel like going deep. But if I did, generally my ear canal is fairly long, so this would have been much longer. But basically what you want to do is you want to follow the angle of the actual ear canal. So what I would do is kind of the angle of attack. I would say more or less, if you wanted to see it more visually, kind of put a X marks the spot, more or less of where the tubing is going to go. Okay? And pretty much X marks the spot of where you want the exit hole to be. So in your mind, you kind of have a line, an invisible line as to how you want to go from here out to here. So start by kind of make your initial indentation straight, okay? And then you kind of gently want to angle the drill bit in the direction you want it to go. Again, nice and slow. Okay, so we've kind of started getting things going here. Again, nice and slow. Here's the other side. And eventually you're going to get to a point where you feel that you're at the right depth, because then you'll start to feel things are actually going through. Now, there's a way to for sure find out if you're through or not. Again, you can just get your vent cleaner and you can actually see and gauge the depth. This one hasn't quite gone the distance. Not quite there. Oh, there it goes. We're through. I just got to clean that hole just a little bit, but it's pretty much done. Now, usually for this part, I love my cans of compressed air. So I just kind of blow any of that stuff out of there. So this is now ready to be tubed. Okay. Now, if you wanted to get fancy, you wanted to do a vent and all that stuff, that's up to you. But basically what you want to do is gently pull and set things up. I personally like my cuticle cutters to do this cut because it just does a great job. Nice finish, no fuss, no muss. Tubing stays put, it's pretty solidly locked up in there. Now, if you pull hard, obviously it will just pull right out, but in general, that will fit the ear perfectly. So, essentially, there it is. That's the finished product. Getting it out again, counsel, pull from the material rather than from the tube. Getting it in, getting it out. You can use this for ear molds. You can also use this for temporary earplugs. Anyway, I hope that helps. If you have any questions, feel free to call. Email me, edmund@hearingaidsource.ca. My company name is Hearing Aid Source. We're located in Toronto, Canada. Bye for now.